Hello, everybody. Pop culture curator here. Welcome to my channel once again. I have an esteemed, wonderful group of friends up here on the panel, and today we're going to be covering Star Trek: The Animated Series. I believe episode 6, The Survivor. I'll make sure I get the name right this time. I edited in the title, and I wanted to say
Correct.
welcome. Yes, thank you. I wanted to say welcome to everybody in the chat, and I hear those aren't my alerts. I don't think. Okay.
No, they're
First,
mine. I got
that's fine.
someone wants me as sugar mama.
Oh, okay. And first, I'd like to, I guess, in the arrival order for which they came, I'd like to welcome and thank Scotty R37 for being here. Hello, Scotty.
Hello, Pop Culture. Thank you so much for having me to be a part of this. This is so awesome watching the animated series. First time watcher, so this is great.
Very, very lucky man. I wish I could enjoy it again for the first time. And also, as well, welcome back, Jill. How you doing, Jill?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on here today to talk about the animated series episode Survivor. The Survivor.
Oh, I'm
Be fun.
happy to have you here. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So glad to see you back. And just coming in, we have Gorilla's Random Thoughts. How you doing, Gorilla?
We're doing good. If you really want to join us for the first time, I'm pretty sure we could smack you hard enough so you get amnesia and you can rewatch it for the first time.
That's what I could do, right? Or maybe drink enough alcohol where I get blacked out or something. And I wanted to let everybody know, welcome Aravic Sonder in the chat. So good to see you, Aravic. I really appreciate you being here. And I know there will probably be people coming in as we start our reviews. And so I wanted to explain that I know I may not be able to respond to everybody's uh, message in the chat. So I will do my best at posting everything up on the panel screen so that everyone can see it. And we will respond to as many as we can. Does anybody have anything they'd like to add or mention before we get started?
No, just that for the production notes on these episodes, I'll be citing from Star Trek, the official guide for the animated series.
Yeah.
And the idea to use that text comes from R.M. Briggs, who you can find on the Clobberin Times channel. So you should sub to Clobberin Times and also read Raquel's amazing science fiction short
Yeah.
stories. You
I
can find on Amazon.
I got a major nitpick. That the reason why I'm giving this episode an F.
Holy
Oh,
Okay.
crap!
straight to an F. Okay, what's that?
I'll point it out when we get to the scene.
All
Okay.
right, sounds like a plan. And I'm gonna share a shot really quick. I only have last week. I shared maybe 3 or 4 stills
Yeah.
from the show, and there was one point that we had discussed. We brought up, and since then I've done a little research. I looked at the back, and I'm gonna share. Let me open it up here. Did I save it? Bear with me, everybody. And there we
And
go. Yes, Jill.
oh, I just wanted to say hello to Aravic since I missed out
Yeah.
on doing that earlier.
Yeah. And hey there, Ervic.
Yeah, it's always
Ahoy,
great to see
Eric.
Aravic here. There we go.
So are you showing your
Window
still
here.
now?
There. Can everybody see this?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. This is in reference to last week. If you'll notice that you can see the view screen, and to the left of that is a turbo shaft. Can you see that?
Yes.
Barely.
Last well, this is as much they show in the episode, but the reason why I'm mentioning this is last week we brought it up because I got a screenshot that showed clearly showed a turbo shaft in between the main view screen and I guess the main turbo shaft, the one we're all used to seeing. And we had discussed whether that was a mistake or was it intentional,
Mhm.
and we assumed it was probably a mistake. I looked it up and it was definitely intentional because
Oh.
I knew that I had heard something when I was at the convention, but it had been so long ago. So the history behind that second turbo shaft is by this point when the animated series was made, the Star Trek conventions had already begun. So they had already had a few big
Right.
conventions. So what happened was fans were asking Gene Roddenberry, what happens if the turbo shaft breaks down? And apparently he didn't have an answer. So when the animated series came about, he instructed them to create a second turbo shaft.
Wow.
Now
That's cool.
Yeah, that's
it
some
is
great information. Nice to
yes,
know
I
it's
don't
not a animation mistake.
right, especially because I noticed well they won't make the same mistake twice. I was thinking, and that's what made me look it up. And I don't know if they necessarily use it in this series. I guess now that we're aware of it, we can watch for it and see if they use it. But so at least we know that we're aware that it's there and that it was not a mistake. And I just wanted to clear that to, so that way the animator's not on the hook, pretty much. It's not their fault. They were just doing what they were told. And that's the only fact to share. So now let me share Jill's again.
Well done on the research
Okay.
there.
Oh,
The
thank you. I
survivor?
appreciate that, Jill.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And I'm ready. I think I've gotten all the information I have mostly is on the TOS. So there's not much I can add much more for the animated series other than I enjoyed the episode as usual, and I'm excited and I'm
I
ready to
did
go when
too.
you guys are.
I like this one so much. This episode first aired on October 13th, 1973. It was written by James
Schmur?
Schmier.
Remember,
Schmur.
Oh, Schm-
Schmur.
Schmer.
Schmur.
Schmer. And directed by Hal Sutherland. I apologize for not knowing how to pronounce that very well.
it was
The
funny because it's throwback to a. Sorry, I'll make it fast. There was a really funny Steve Martin movie called The Man with Two Brains, where he played a doctor, a brain surgeon, and his name was Doctor Hufferer. And he met a and he met a girlfriend, a lady he liked, played by Kathleen Turner. Her name was Anna Mulmahay. So it was funny, kind of a play on the syllables, I guess. All right, so go ahead, Jill.
the animated series began during a writer's strike, so Dorothy Fontana was reached out to by James Schmier, and she says about this episode, as I recall, Jim called and said he was interested in pitching to us. Fontana explained, he was an established writer, so I took the meeting. I liked what he pitched and passed it on to Gene, who had him in for a meeting as well, and then approved the assignment. Jim had done some form of animation in the past, so he knew it was possible from page to cell, as it were. The shapeshifter idea had been done in the original series, but this was a different one with more personal heart to it. And that's what DC Fontana says, and I agree with her. The romance between Anne and the alien who looks like her fiance was a more compassionate story, because the shapeshifter was presented as an intelligent equal instead of a vicious monster like in the Man Trap.
Kind of reminded me of Galaxy Quest.
It did. That reminded me of that too. So we'll begin with the captain's log. Stardate 5143.3. While patrolling the edge of the Romulan Neutral Zone, the captain, the Enterprise, has changed course to assist a one-man vessel, which has fallen. Sensors indicate the occupant is still alive, and in the vessel, they find a philanthropist who has been missing for 5 years, named Carter Winston. Very well played by Ted Knight.
Was that Ted Knight?
This is Ted Knight, played by
That's
Ted Knight.
awesome. I thought it was Shatner.
I thought so too.
Shatner, interesting. No, that's great that it said night. He was doing Super Friends and a lot of other stuff back then.
Well,
And I love that suit. He
Mo-
looks like he's ready for the disco, like Studio 54.
He's like the gentleman version of Harry Mudd. It's great.
according
Yes.
to the book, the Ted Knight played Ted Baxter. Wait,
Yeah.
Um,
Ted Baxter on Mary Tyler Moore show, yes.
and he was a longtime friend of Filmation founder and animated series producer Lou Scheimer.
Ah,
And
that explains
he
it.
received no on-screen credit for his portrayal of Carter Winston in this episode.
Well,
The
the
book
same with
further
Super Friends. Yeah, he was the one that had the famous line. Meanwhile, back at the Hall of Justice, but
Nice.
no credit.
Yeah. Hey there, Captain Fandom Nerd.
Hi, Captain Fandom Nerd.
Hey,
The
Captain Fandom.
the book further states that it is believed that the actor donated his time as a favor to Scheimer, as the producer often called on Knight to voice a role in a number of Filmation productions.
That's
And
fascinating. That's awesome. I love Ted Knight. That's great. And also great in Caddyshack.
And Too Close for Comfort.
Yeah. Sorry, we're just gonna. This is the Ted Knight podcast.
Yeah, he died tragically. He died relatively young, so that's
Oh.
sad.
Well, Ted Knight. um,
See?
Carter Winston reminds me of kind of like an opposite to Harry Mudd, you know, because never mind the whole argument so far that the Federation doesn't use money, because that's not introduced here at all at this point in time in Trek history. But both are traders, but Winston trades in kindness and generosity, and neither are from the Federation, so the use of their wealth falls under whatever they want to do.
Yeah, he's referred to as a space trader.
Yes,
Right.
and we
No
learn
denomination. Yeah, sorry.
right. We don't know what he trades with. True. We learn he has a fiance, Lieutenant Anne Norrid, in security, who is currently serving on the Enterprise. But before they can be reunited, Spock remembers to check and verify the man's identity, which all seems to check out. Spock also reminds McCoy that Winston needs a medical exam. And in the exam, McCoy says that the instrument is very off. But, oh wait, not off that much, just off very slightly, in a way he's never seen when examining a human. But he just brushes it off as needing to calibrate his tools.
Well, and again, it's
You,
sort of a similar situation to Mudd's women with I don't know why it made my machine go bloop.
Yeah.
guy, he should have known something's off. Not that his tools are malfunctioning. They should have been
Well, they
questioning
do
this.
they do question it later on. They Chapel and McCoy make it a point to mention that they're going to investigate because there was more than just one discrepancy. So the discrepancies start to add up, and they do make it a point to say they're looking into it.
Yeah,
And
I was
Lieutenant,
thinking maybe. Sorry, go ahead, Jill.
no, that's okay. What were you thinking?
I was thinking maybe the reason why it was just a slight anomaly for McCoy was because this shapeshifter can is that good at reproducing a copy. It's like 99.9%, but there's like 1% that's
Hmm.
not quite there. So I'm guessing
Yeah,
maybe that's the reason why.
and I know this is projecting out into the future, but all of this reminds me of the changelings from DS9, how they could perfectly emulate human beings to where the scanners don't really pick it up, and so that they can't really um, they can't really tell. So
That
I
makes
think it's in
sense.
the same vein as that.
It sounds like it.
And Lieutenant Anne um, is played by Nichelle Nichols in this episode, and Lieutenant.
She really softens her voice for the characterization as well. It was impressive.
Well, you know what
Mhm.
I thought was what I noticed as well is the fact that since she plays a predominant role as a security officer, Uhura is not in this episode.
That's
So
right.
maybe, yeah, so maybe they didn't want it to be too obvious that she was doing both voices.
Maybe.
Maybe, perhaps.
I don't
That's
know.
just an observation.
Lieutenant Norid is allowed to reunite with her fiance, but he has bad news for her. He's changed. He's undergone complete reconstruction well, he claims, of an extreme medical variety, including having to regrow bones and stuff and skin grafts. But he also says his change goes beyond that, explaining nothing except that they can't be together anymore.
I can't marry you, Anne. Ever! Which is a
Sounds
little
like
harsh.
that sounds like an excuse I'd use.
Would you say ever? And that would be the response, yes.
Yeah, these days this would not be accepted to have a woman who has been waiting for this man to come along, and she's been holding him in her heart all this time.
A heartbreak wouldn't be
You know,
allowed today.
no, the heartbreak. No, because she doesn't need no man, right? Right.
Well, but also don't forget she's part of the security detail, so that's a progressive step forward in terms of strong women in Star Trek.
Right.
Right.
Not only that, but she turns away when she's crying. She's not crying outlandishly. She's just silently crying and she moves on with her duties
Right. Trying
shortly
to
after
hide the
this.
tears. And this is before we got Tasha Yar, so we have a female security officer. But of course, we had them in that the Lorelei signal.
True.
Hey, you notice how small his legs look in this compared to like the bottom part of his legs looks a lot smaller than they should be.
I think it's the perspective, maybe.
Oh, I was gonna say his ankles would snap if he's trying to stand up.
I wanted to mention something as well that I forgotten during the outside the scenes in space where they show the ship flying like past the camera and around orbit of the they actually took
I,
footage from the TOS and rotoscoped the animation over that. It made it easier for them,
hmm,
and that way it
Nice.
was more accurate.
I didn't get any
Go
of
ahead,
those
Gerald.
shots.
No, no, no. But it's in every episode. That's okay. But in every animated series episode, you'll see the ship. You know, it's
Gotcha.
repeating the same thing it did in TOS, flying by or orbiting around a planet. So they rotoscoped it, which means the artists had the actual film of TOS frame by frame, drew over it, and that's how they got the accuracy of the Enterprise as it was turning and things like that. That's all I
Oh,
wanted to add.
cool. That's great. That's a cool animation note. I'm glad you're adding some animation notes on how these things are achieved. So then Winston turns his attention to Captain Kirk, who tells him that his little ship is now only good for scrap. Standing behind Kirk, Winston crosses his arms and turns all glowy and turns into an orange creature with 6 tentacles. He places one of these on Kirk, and Kirk goes to sleep, after which the creature turns into Kirk.
I'm guessing they never showed this creature in future Star Trek iterations, as far as you guys
No.
know. Okay,
Well,
go
Uh,
ahead.
don't they mention something about how the alien's planet has been quarantined or something like that because of the shapeshifting possibilities?
Yes,
I thought there was reference to that.
they will
Yeah,
there
bring it up
they
here shortly. Yes,
you're right. There might be there's reference, but we don't physically see the orange creature again, unless you consider learning about Odo kind of an offshoot of this.
do they
So
ever show Odo's natural form?
yes,
Or
his
is
natural
that
form
just
is liquid.
it's just a liquid? Okay, that's what I was wondering. Go
yeah.
ahead.
Then he becomes part of the Great Link.
Yeah.
Where I did watch the one episode where he went back to I guess his home planet and everybody was like in a lake and he went and joined them. I guess.
Yes,
Yeah, that's the
exactly.
Great Link. That's the Great Link.
He's different from this changeling, but I get a lot of vibes about it. So
Gotcha.
here, we this is where we learn that the creature is a changeling, and we see him turn to Kirk here.
Wakanda forever. Too much? All right.
So the medical errors regarding the readings that Winston put out are piling too high for Dr. McCoy and Nurse Chapel, so they begin their work on that problem.
I wanted to mention that Arabic Saunders says yes, but in lower decks, so he's saying that they did reference the alien in future Trek.
Oh, cool.
Sorry, guys,
That's cool.
getting caught up with the chat, guys. Hello, Captain
Yep.
Phantom Nerd, by the way.
Um, Kirk enters the bridge, even though Sulu thought he was on his way to his quarters. So it's the obvious implication being that this is our changeling imposter. He orders the ship to Raychar 3 for a planet population saving mission. They're gonna save the people on Rachar 3, which requires a pass through the Romulan Neutral Zone.
I was kind of taken aback by the fact that Spock is like, okay,
Yeah, right. He
Hey, that's another nitpick I had here. When Kirk
That's
had to come
fair.
all the way up to the bridge there to pass on the message that not to go into the neutral zone, like they don't have our freaking intercom all over the damn ship where ship there where you can just press button and go, hey, don't go there. Boom,
yeah.
boom, done. Click done.
Well,
Well,
Kirk
maybe
is
since it
passed
was
out
something,
right now.
maybe I'm guessing. Yeah, right. I'm thinking it's part of him trying to do this kind of like undercover and on the DL. I think that's the reason why he went up to the bridge. And Spock did question him and said, you know, we can't do that. It's the the neutral zone. And I can't remember verbatim what Kirk said, but it's basically just follow my orders.
He
Right.
does say that Winston says that in his scans going through the neutral zone or in this area or what have you, that there haven't been Romulans around for weeks, and his word is good. And Spock is like, I suppose it is. So there
It
is sort of a hand wave.
He says
Yeah.
that has been the case.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, no, you're right. No, you got it perfectly right. I just remembered specifically. Like
Yep.
Spock says it as if he is definitely questioning what's happening, but he's still following orders.
Hmm.
And Kirk here is on the bridge again. At first, he's surprised that he has taken an unexpected nap because this is our real Kirk here. And then he doesn't believe that he just made a course change to go through the neutral zone. So I like how Spock instantaneously has on hand a replay from the bridge. He he orders the ship away from the neutral zone at warp 8 and agrees to a medical exam concerning his blackouts. McCoy finishes tests on Winston, but Winston turns into um, the
Squidward.
alien and puts McCoy to sleep so he can take on McCoy's form. And as the alien, uh, pretending to be McCoy, he tries to tell Lieutenant Norred to forget about him, to forget about Winston, out of concern for her. Then
Which is
Kirk,
kind of
oh yeah,
interesting.
yeah, it is.
Like he is attempting to comfort her to a certain degree. It's not like he like I like how the alien is more of a like he or it isn't again like not a mustache twirling villain.
Right, he's compassionate. He cares about her. He has taken on the
Yeah.
when these changelings take on the form of others, they take on their personality over time. They become more and more like the person they're imitating.
And
So
memory.
this changeling has feelings for her.
Yes. So yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. He is compassionate, so he's not completely cold, which is his
Hmm.
weakness, I guess you could say.
Yes, and that's the epitome of a Star Trek villain is not really to be a villain at all. He's not a villain. He's he's
Antagonist.
an antagonist, correct.
Misunderstood.
Oh wait, sorry. This shot just reminded me. There was a part earlier in the episode where Kirk says, "I'm going to my quarters now," and Spock says, "Okay." And it looks like Kirk is walking over to the science station, and they're just like sort of swapping spots. He's not going for a turbo lift or anything. It's just like, "Oh, I guess
Yeah.
you're gonna go over there first." Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
they basically walk past each other. Yeah.
Yes, I have to grab my keys.
Yeah, Kirk and Spock ask for tests regarding Winston from McCoy, but since he's the alien, he says he's too busy and he'll do it later.
Yeah.
But but McCoy makes a fatal flaw when he concedes that he could have been in error, which both Kirk and Spock notice as not being in McCoy's nature. Usually, McCoy will make a witty comeback while presenting his data and findings. You know, but
Yeah.
so
I liked that. I liked that moment in the corridor. Captain, did you notice when I was being a jerk to Dr. McCoy? And he didn't say anything about it. That's right. That's right. It's weird.
Right. He's usually a jerk right back to me, and I'm
Yeah.
just not sure what's going on here.
And Arabic Sonder in the chat says, "I'm sure that alien has a clarinet somewhere."
Okay.
I I think that may be a reference to Star Wars.
Oh,
Casting the
okay.
band, maybe.
Possibly. Nice.
Mm.
And also another thing I wanted to mention too is, now remember this is an animated series and we're limited on budget and detail. So when they show the alien move, it looks like it's hovering. But I think if this had been shot as a live action episode, I think it's supposed to use the tentacles to walk. So
Makes
Mhm.
sense.
That would make
I just
sense
wanted to
to me
bring it up.
too. But that's a
Yeah.
good question. I like that question. I wonder what the answer would be. Definitely, if it were live action, they would use the tentacles to walk. Let's
Eric
see.
Saunders says, I wonder why their badges are always slightly askew. I'm wondering that too. I'm wondering if they're trying to, was that intentional? And if it is intentional, was it because they're trying to show like an angle, like as if he's standing slightly like to the left or to the right, maybe?
I
It's a
think
very
the
good
floors
observation.
are uneven and they're lopsided, so it makes the badges look lopsided.
Oh, the floors are uneven?
Yeah,
Maybe. I don't know.
I was gonna
I
make
thought it
So,
was.
another. I was gonna make another joke, but I don't know how many people like seen Pearl Harbor there when they're painting the side of the airplanes there.
oh,
Oh,
It
Arabic.
is.
I saw it when it was new. I saw it when it was new, but I don't remember in detail.
Yeah, the one guy was painting there, painting the lady on the side of the airplane. There he goes, "Hey, what I tell you about painting titties on the side of my airplane? If you do, don't make them lopsided."
Ha.
This was Pearl Harbor.
Yeah,
The
when
Yes.
when
Okay.
they first
The
arrived.
Michael, yeah, the Michael Bay movie.
Okay.
I don't know why, but with Michael Bay movies, I can retain them in my mind for maybe a week or a month, and then I forget. They're just
Well,
not
I do know
very
they filmed some of
memorable.
that here in Corpus Christi, where I
Yeah,
right.
I'll send the scene to
Okay.
you there, Jill, if I remember.
Hmm. That's
And Arabic Sonder in the chat says Squidward tries to play clarinet. Arabic Sonder says, or did it have to be 25% different? Oh, I
no.
really
This
Oh,
didn't.
didn't have to be 25% different. That's
he's
why we
talking
have Kirk and Spock looking
he's
for.
talking SpongeBob there, Squidward and
Mhm.
SpongeBob.
Oh, okay,
So
gotcha.
anyway, so since these two they're suspicious, they go back to sick bay and they find the real McCoy
The real McCoy.
The real McCoy.
Yeah.
waking up from the floor, and they also find an extra bio bed. The bio bed won't admit to being an alien. So
See,
Kirk,
this is the scene. This is the scene
The
that gets
bio
an
they
F.
won't admit to it. That's funny. Is that because? Are you thinking Gorilla because McCoy should have been the first one to notice?
Yeah. Yes, McCoy should have noticed that there's an extra bio bed in there. There's no way in hell he'd miss that. That this is complete bullshit. Spock, who remembers everything, should have known that there's only two bio beds. I can understand.
consider.
I can understand Kirk not knowing that there's only two bio beds because you avoid sickbay all the times, but it's Kirk's the one that noticed. The two people who should have known that there's only two damn bio beds were the ones that are like, oh, Kirk just must be going nuts. He's talking to a bio. It should have been and McCoy and Spock noticing it.
Normally, I'd agree with you, but consider that McCoy was just passed out a moment before. We don't know what kind of effects it has on
That's
his mind
that's
to be taken unconscious by this changeling.
that's no excuse.
Yeah.
Or maybe William Shatner said, "I want that line."
Oh,
Yeah, but
that
they
is a
could have easily
possibility.
they could have easily gone McCoy going. There's something off here. There's usually only, I thought it only had two bio beds, and that'd make up for his being knocked out. Then Kirk walks over to the third one and then starts shouting at it. Easy fix right there.
But I,
I
yeah,
mm,
Well, it's
that's
funny.
fair.
It's like you go over to your friend's house to go visit your friend. and you walk in the bedroom and you say, "Oh, you got two beds now," and they say, "What? I do? Oh, wow! I didn't even see that sitting there."
I just noticed myself.
Yeah, you're right. There is a second bed in my bedroom. Sorry, go ahead, Jill. You may continue.
So, to reveal the alien, Kirk threatens to pour a powerful acid on the bed. So, this works. And the alien transforms. And Spock describes him. Um, a Bendorian doctor. Their planet is quarantined, and few people ever do see them. Their ability to rearrange their molecular structure into anything with the same general size and mass, and their practice of deceit as a way of life puts them off limits.
Cool.
And the Vendorian attacks Kirk, Spock, and McCoy before running away down the corridor.
Awesome.
Great scene, and I guess the reason why, obviously, that he's able to, the creature's able to overcome them is they weren't prepared. They're not armed, and maybe Spock doesn't know how to do a nerve pinch on it. Maybe I don't know.
Right. Spock announces the intruder alert, describing him as a shapeshifter. And Lieutenant Anne Norrid confronts Winston with the phaser, figuring out the intruder must be him, since he was new on the ship. She is correct, but she doesn't follow through on disabling the alien, even though she knows he's not her fiance.
You could have stopped him. I couldn't, Captain.
Yeah, that would be disciplinary action. He would definitely immediately take her off the case.
Well, don't forget what happened to Garavik. A little hesitation isn't something that'll get you drummed out of the service.
True. And here's a captain's log supplemental. Due to the interference by the alien Vandorian aboard, the Enterprise has been detected violating the Romulan Neutral Zone. By the terms of our treaty, the Romulans have a legal right to seize and impound the Enterprise. To complicate matters, we have not been able to apprehend the Vandorian responsible for putting us in this position.
And there is a her in that long shot.
Mm-hmm.
So
I see her, you're right. There she is. She's not supposed to be there.
Well, there's shift rotations.
Ah, okay, there you go. That's a good explanation. Thank you.
you are back to
Cheers.
it.
Yeah, I do. You fixed it. Thanks. And and Kirk sees right through this. Oh, I had my own invasion there. And Kirk sees right through this Romulan ploy with absolutely no preamble. He's convinced that Winston's ship was bait to allow a Romulan spy aboard in the form of this Vendorian.
And that's the first appearance of Maress.
It is.
It's a cat lady, everybody.
Right
Yes.
It's a lady. It's a lady who's a cat.
now, isn't she the communications officer here?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Ye- Yes, we see Emrys perform communication duties voiced by Majel Barrett.
Yeah.
Does this
She'll show
alien
up.
pop up in? Does this alien pop up in Future Trek?
Lower decks.
Just 5 more times in this series, during the animated series. She's a Cation who served on the USS Hood before joining the Enterprise.
Yeah. They also got cat ladies on lower decks.
Gotcha. Thank you, Brilla.
And
I
Yes,
was
Jill.
curious. Would you
You're roboting.
I think
pull up?
that we're fortunate that he's roboting in this instance. So uh Kirk is convinced that Winston's ship was bait to allow the Romulan spy aboard in the form of this Vendorian, who set them on course to violate the neutral zone. Um, Scotty, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Cool.
No, I was just gonna hit on the cat lady. Is all I was
Yeah, I
doing.
know that. I figured
We're just gonna go meow.
you can do that.
Oh,
No.
here are some flowers and some catnip.
Oh, they'll probably
You,
eat the flowers.
yeah, someone cosplayed as Emrys at the convention, so I took a picture with her.
They're sure
Oh,
they're
that's cool.
cosplaying and not identifying
Yeah,
as
it's
a
on my
furry.
Facebook page.
Yeah. Hey, Jill, are you sure they're cosplaying and not identifying as a furry?
I do not know. I didn't ask, but she did carry around a, a cat a scooper from a litter box, and it had a Star Trek badge on it.
Oh, I wonder if a hurry ran into that problem.
Starfleet issue.
It was.
Right.
And the Romulans, of course, do not admit to using such a spy. Also, we know that the Romulan commander, of course, is voiced by James Doohan. But sometimes this book makes a mistake, and this book makes a big mistake. It says that the Romulan commander was played by Nichelle Nichols, so that was it's kind of funny.
I like that.
That's just
now, now, what's the name, if I may ask, the name of the alien with the three arms?
that's Eric's.
I was reading on film. Yeah, this one on the left. Thank you. The animators could not figure out a way to make him look like when he walked to make it look convincing. So the only time they show him is either standing or sitting.
Hmm. Oh, okay, that is interesting.
Yeah, he has like three legs or something like that, and they couldn't get it to look convincing. So
And
yeah, you'll
hello in the
see him.
chat to Captain Finity.
Hail, Captain Finity. I think you got us right now, along with
Yeah.
That's some
Hey,
good
Cap.
trivia.
Hello, Captain
Jason.
Infinity.
Yeah, I like that trivia
Pictures look
about
so
Eric's.
different in each iteration. I want to
I
put
only
this
ever
page.
noticed how
Irving
happy he is. Not that he's not walking.
He always has a bit of a playful grin.
It's that space
says,
weed, I tell you. That'll make you smile.
In engineering, Scotty finds someone who looks like fellow crew who is messing with the panel to disable the deflectors. And this crew member knocks Scotty out.
That's supposed to be Scotty.
No, that's supposed to be Scotty, the bigger face here.
on the right hand side, looking at the
Mm,
guy down below. Right.
yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say they got the hair color wrong.
It looks like Lieutenant Carey from Voyager.
Okay, so I didn't get the picture for this, but Anne finally confronts Winston without backing down this time, who admits that the real Winston died on the planet of natural causes, his home planet, the aliens, and that he really loved her and that some of the feelings reside within him. But he wants her to
Kerpla, bird
forget
of
him,
prey.
but he wants her to forget him because she surely couldn't love him in his true form. And Kapla to Bird of Prey 5.
Kapla
Yes.
bird.
Good to
Kapla!
see you, bird.
Oh, he says, that is the way of our people. The longer we stay in another's form, the more we take on its memory, emotion, and attitudes. Not totally, but a great deal as time passes. And in the meantime, the Romulans fire on the ship, and oh, there's the confrontation. I did get it after all.
There you go.
Nice.
And there's where he's saying, you can never love me. Look at me.
Could you ever love this?
Thank you.
And she's like, well, I guess. Maybe.
Yeah, yeah, we can make it work.
Got enough money, I'll make it work.
And Oh yeah, this is the point where the Romulans fire at the ship, and Kirk and Kirk and Anne are knocked back. So
So
Winston escapes again.
I got a
Yeah,
question here.
yes, sir.
Is the Romulans are the Romulans so low on material that they had to buy a D7 from the Klingons?
This is from the Enterprise incident, if I remember. They were low on production budget for the third season, and they sort of swapped out the D7s. Or they swapped out the Bird of Praise for D7s because of some throwaway dialogue in regards to working with the Klingons. So this is technically still canonical, even though it's more of a carryover for a budgetary issue from season 3 of the original series, if I'm not completely wrong.
Yeah, but
Actually,
that's a
there's
D7.
there's a if I may, there's a background to that. What happened is a lot of these ships were designed by Matt Jeffries. We all knew that. It's from the Jeffries tube. And what happened was he did build a different ship. I'll do the research and I'll bring it back maybe tomorrow. I'll read directly from the book, but I was kind of glancing over it a couple weeks ago. And what happened was he created a ship and he was let off and fired and he was disgruntled. And the ship didn't he didn't make I'm making mistakes. I'm not reading it exactly in order, but it was basically a design issue because they basically got rid of the model maker, so they had to kind of make it work. So that's the reason why
Yeah.
you see it like you do. And something I want to point out too is we're obviously seeing the Enterprise get hit by a photon torpedo, and the Enterprise has no shields at this point because the alien had knocked the shields down. But you notice there's no damage to the Enterprise. Normally, like in Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan, as soon as they got hit without shields, I mean it really screwed the ship
No,
up.
did they carried on that they had deflectors because the alien turned itself into a deflector?
Not yet.
Oh, but can I point something out here?
Yes.
Can you guys see one little flaw in the design here that's really, really stupid?
What's that?
Well, one torpedo to that neck will that whole ship's gone.
That's
You talking about the Enterprise?
true.
Because that's
I've
what.
I've I've heard some things about the design of this ship, and there have been people who've been trying to work it out as to why that would happen. And the possibility is that it facilitates the torpedo launcher through the neck, but it also could be that it is sort of an early prototype towards detachment. So even if the command crew is destroyed in the front in the bridge, the star drive would still be able to carry on and maintain battle.
Oh,
Is what
see,
I've heard. But again, you're right. Once the shields go down, all you got to do is fire at the neck, for
that's
lack
been
of a.
established. That's been established in Enterprise there with what was it Soong there? And they're going after the augments there. He told them here, target them right here, and it's right is in the neck area of the ship. They destroyed the whole ship with the
Oh,
augments
cool.
on it.
Now I don't know if you guys are aware or not, but according to the original schematics of the Enterprise, this is before TNG. Supposedly, the Enterprise was built to saucer separate. They just didn't have it in the budget, but it was
Oh
in the
yeah,
original schematics.
for TNG or the Enterprise or the NCC 1701.
1701 from the TOS was designed to saucer separate.
And they do mention it in the episode The Apple, I think.
Yes, they do. Yeah, I was going to say that. I think they do. It's something about separation, but I'd have to watch that episode again,
Yeah, me too.
which we will be doing, of course, on for Jill's channel.
Sure.
Yes, we will.
And Arabic Saunders says, sorry, I'm sure you guys have talked about it before, but it's my first time watching the TAS review. No problem. If you guys ask questions that have been asked before, no problem at all. We will do our best to answer them. Captain Finity says, don't mention the Chekhov absence. He's on vacation. I'm sure he wishes he would have been there. And Captain Finity says they were too lazy to even lampshade Chekhov's absence. Literally, literally inexcusable. And Captain Finity says, I'll be here all night.
Yeah, Arabic wants to know why Chekhov is not on the show. It's basically just budgetary reasons, right?
What happened was originally when this show was conceived, they were only going to have the main three casts: William Shatner, Leonard Nimoy, and DeForest Kelly. and
Mhm.
they were going to have regular stock actors do the other voices. And what happened was Leonard Nimoy spoke up and said, "I'm not doing it. Let's get
Correct.
everybody," because he knew that they were all pretty much unemployed at that point, and he had been seeing them at the conventions. Which I really, hooray for Nimoy doing that. You know, he stuck his neck out, but he goes, "I'm not doing it unless you guys get them all." And they came back and said, "Okay, we can, but there's one, we can hire all but one." And unfortunately, it was Chekhov, I guess, because maybe he had the least seniority. He had been there the least amount of time. I don't know why they chose him.
And every time we mention this, we mention about how he writes an episode. So if you want to see the episode that he writes, come back next week, and we will see that he writes the Infinite Vulcan for next week.
The Infinite Vulcan, yes.
Hmm.
And Captain Finity says, "I try to relax about design pedantry in order to facilitate an emotional viewing experience." Here we are.
Okay, so
Sorry, Captain, I'm trying to catch up in the chat. Can we go back to Jessica with the handsome alien?
oh,
Go ahead,
okay, sure.
Go ahead, Jill.
Um, there you go. So Spock reports damage to the second propulsion system, and without even deflectors, the Enterprise was ready to give up. When deflectors appear out of nowhere, even though Scotty said that it would take 2 hours to repair. And that is how Kirk knows that it was Winston who transformed into the deflector shield.
And this is where they don't mean business. This is where they blast them with phasers and photons at the same time.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And Captain Affinity says, "I'm considered very handsome on my home planet. My dad told me so." Eric Saunders says, "Oh my God, that's my favorite TAS episode. At least Chuck, I've got to do that." Absolutely. He was very smart. Koenig, when you hear him speak in interviews and at the conventions, he was very, very educated.
Hmm.
Scotty said it would take 2 hours to repair stuff. Right. So they did, yeah, that's just it. They're like, what's going on? Because one shield popped up in between the Enterprise and the Klingons, Romulans,
Romulans.
Romulans. Sorry.
And while isn't it like there's no damage and they're still just pulling away?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah, there's no damage,
Yeah,
but
sorry.
Hmm.
no, that's okay. No problem.
Oh, and at this point, the Romulans have veered off. They've left. They they've realized. I don't know what they've realized.
Well,
That
no,
they're
What happens here?
well
one ship is
because
damaged, and Spock said it would take a couple days for them to fix. That's one they just hit with the phasers and the photons. They hit the second ship too, and that's the one that's kind of veering off. Sorry, go ahead, Scotty.
But why did the Romulans leave?
because as we subsequently find out, not Winston was a was the bait to
Right.
try and lure the Enterprise into the neutral zone. And once the Romulans realize that their mole has turned against them, they're like, well, we do not have the
But
advantage, and so they.
but how did they realize that the mole turns against them? I don't know.
That's an excellent question.
Here
Well,
oh, go ahead.
I was thinking because they probably recognized knew the deflectors were down, but yet they somehow got deflectors in one spot blocking all their
Hmm.
shots. That's how they knew.
Yeah, you think they put that together and didn't just have backup deflectors?
Mm.
Mm. The alien reveals its true intentions. Among my own people, I'm a non-producer, useless, an outcast, fit only to do those tasks of the lowest order. The Romulans offered me a life, something of value I could do. It is important to be of value to someone. And as a result of this deception, the alien will stand trial. But for protecting the Enterprise, that will be part of the testimony too. So a bit of a redemption arc for this antagonist. And while waiting for that trial, Anne wants to stand guard. And Carter says, "But you've seen me. You know what I am." And Anne says, "Form doesn't seem terribly important to me. As Carter Winston, or even just part of him, there is a better life for you than anything the Romulans might offer. Can we talk about that?" And they do. The book points that this points this particular scene out as a lesson for seeing beyond appearances and having sympathy even when someone has been deceptive towards you, especially when that someone tries to do the right thing in the end.
And then
Eh,
we get McCoy being all McCoy because we haven't got a lot of McCoy. Most of it's been not Winston.
yes, they have a little quip at the end. Very
And
classic.
Eric Saunders says, "Did you see the saucer separation and beyond?" I don't remember. Does it separate? I don't.
Well, not on purpose.
Oh, okay.
That's when the swarm just takes out the neck of the Enterprise. And yeah, but that's for another timeline.
Yeah, one that somebody else can discuss. I won't go there. I'm not a fan.
Yeah.
And Captivity says this cartoon is looking way too much like my comic book. Yes, it does look like comic book.
Well, and I wanted to compliment the animation in this particular episode. I know there are things that I'm always going to make fun of, but I did like the facial animations with McCoy in this because it wasn't just the stock sort of like fall over kind of stuff. He did actually emote, and especially in that last little exchange where he's like, "I'm glad that that alien is under lock and key." I can't imagine if there were two Spocks, and then Spock is like, "Well, if we had two McCoys, we could actually be up to our standard operating procedure in the medical department, doctor." Wah wah.
I agree. I don't. I keep thinking that after what happened with Khan, they would be like, "Are you sure it's okay her with him?" You know. And after where no man came, or where no man has gone before, I just don't know. It just seems like I don't know. She might get too involved because you got to remember that in Space Seed, that the lieutenant she mutinied against the ship pretty much and helped Khan. So you think that'd be something they'd have on their mind, but I don't know. That's just a
Well,
You're
and
theory.
right.
then yeah, but then also I think it is something that they sort of establish with her character. Like she is a competent officer. When she's confronted with Winston, she goes to see the doctor. Like even though she's manipulated by not Winston, she does sort of professionally assess her own emotional state as opposed to sort of tiptoeing and being like, "I'll rescue you." So I thought she was actually presented as a decent security officer. I thought she was good, except for that one moment of hesitation, and it happens to everybody,
She
even
is.
Jim Kirk.
She is, but you want to avoid conflict of interest if you can.
Agreed.
Yeah, as soon as you see there's a conflict, I would like separate them. And plus, you don't want her to get hurt. You know, you can see she's already emotionally tied to what's going on. And Eric Saunders says the neck of the Enterprise didn't just get shot; they had to separate to crash land the saucer on a planet. It seems like they're crashing the ship all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
So
terrible.
I never really I my first watch I mean my watch of this episode I didn't realize that the ship got damaged when it shouldn't have had it didn't get as damaged as it should have when it got hit by the Romulan ship. So there's a couple of technical errors like that in this episode that I didn't notice before. But I still give this episode a B plus because even though it was a really overall a simple episode and maybe not one of my absolute favorites. It was easy to navigate both as an adventure and a romance together. A real shapeshifter would have avoided deception much more easily by changing forms into other crewmates and objects and would have been able to evade detection more than this one. But what makes this episode stand out is the very complex antagonist. And so that romance with that alien that who looks like her fiance was compassionate because the shapeshifter was presented intelligently instead of like the monster of the week. And for me, that intelligence, insight, and the ability to have a chance at redemption made this a much more impactful Star Trek episode that could have been a live action episode to me. Um,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
at
Yeah.
And of course, it does remind us of the Man Trap, which we will be reviewing tomorrow on my channel.
Super cool.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Um. So you're giving it a B plus?
Yes.
Okay.
Just for its
Are
Now,
we?
potential. Just for its
I
potential
did,
because for what it is, I mean 20 minutes,
Mm,
you
mm.
know, it had some constraints.
and I did.
Gorilla, are you still dropping an F on this?
Here, I'll
Oh
be
yeah, of
nice.
course.
I'll give it a C minus, but it's not getting any more than that because of if even if McCoy was knocked out and he forgot that he only had two bio beds, Spock should have noticed something. I can understand Kirk because Kirk always avoids sick bay, but whenever he can, but Spock should have noticed something right off the top of the head. That was right there. That's something you don't miss.
Yeah.
It'd be like
That's
it'd be
fair.
like it'd be like you having two chairs in your living room and all of a sudden a third one popped up. You'd
I
notice that.
appreciate the consideration, Gorilla. That's it. Thanks for that.
and I was able to put a poll in the chat this time. So if you'd like to vote in the chat, everybody, on what you would rate this episode from A to D, I would appreciate it.
I can't vote for it because there's no F.
I only have four options, so maybe, yeah, maybe have a heart and give it a D minus. I don't know if that would help much.
Nah, I'll give it a C minus. I'll be nice.
I voted in the poll, and thanks for putting that up, Pop Culture Curator. I give it an A minus. I really liked this. I was talking to Jill before, and she was saying, "Oh, it's a simple episode." And I was watching it, and I was like, "This is great! You rescue someone, they turn out to be a shapeshifter. There's on-ship intrigue. The Romulans show up. There's a space battle. There's a love interest. And you know what? I keep it at an A minus just because." Like I know that you guys aren't as big of a fan of it as I am. This is my first time watching it, but I stand by my A minus because of Ted Knight.
There you
Who's
Travis
go.
Ted
Midnight,
Knight?
Gorilla.
I said, who's Ted Knight?
He's Judge Smales from Caddyshack.
He was an actor. He had silver
What's
hair. He was on the
Caddyshack?
show Mary Tyler Moore
It's a golf
comedy.
movie.
What's golf?
Golf is invented by the Scottish.
What's a Scottish?
That's me.
Eric
What's it
Saunders
mean?
says I give it a B
What's it
plus,
mean?
and Captain Infinity A plus.
Gives an A
Eric
plus plus for
Saunders says
Jessica. Clearly.
A plus plus. Eric Saunders says the poll is closed for me. I wonder why it would be closed. It says you gave it a B plus, Arabic. Maybe he only
Oh,
gives you
and
one chance to vote. You can't change it. And Captain Infinity says because of the Captain Infinity and Jessica cameo.
He sees himself in Jessica in this episode.
And it
So
looks like so far in the poll we have 5 votes. Let's see if I can show that like Jill does. Figure this out here. I don't know how
Button.
to show it like Jill does, apparently.
oh, you just gotta hit share, shouldn't you? I'm not familiar with the polls.
Share the tab that I'm showing with you.
Um,
I'm sorry, I'll figure it out for next week, guys. You're probably like, what is this fool doing? But I wanted
no,
to show
no,
the
we're not
tab,
doing
like,
that.
I wanted to show that Jill has a way of showing the tab
Yeah, I just show it
with
like
the
any other
poll
tab.
result.
But yeah, you'll just have to experiment with it. It's not hard. You'll get it. And
Close your multiple slides of morass.
All right, I'm gonna give it a try and see what I can do here. Try to see if I can share it.
well, I'll read some of the chat while you do that. At
Go for it.
at 8:51 p.m., Captain Finity says 1 hour 55 minutes nursing a Romulan nail and a pan galactic gargle blaster. Hmm.
And this is what I have so far. What grade would you give the TAS episode The Survivor? We have A plus or A minus at 40%, B plus through B minus at 60%, C plus So nobody gave it a C or D, which is good. So I'm glad most people were happy, and that's with 5 votes. So thank you for that, everybody. I appreciate you
Yes,
voting.
thank you.
Oh,
And
That was
Captain
fantastic.
Affinity says that was trippy AF. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Captain.
Mm, it was fun.
But
And also, I'll
I will.
share. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I will dig up information on the ship designs. I know there's a little bit of confusion there, so I'll dig that up and I'll have that for our next stream.
Sweet.
And here I'm sharing our episode for next week. The
The
episode
che-
written.
the Chekhov episode.
Yeah, the episode written by Chekhov. So we're wondering where
Absolutely.
Chekhov is. He started writing episodes for the animated series.
Okay. So I'd
Just
like
this one.
before we usually usually when we show the preview for next week, we do it on our way
Hmm.
out.
Yeah.
So I would like to thank everybody for being here. Everybody in the chat, absolutely wonderful. Aravic, Captain Infinity, Captain Fandom Nerd, I believe you pronounced. Bird of Prey, thank you for joining us, and it's so good to see you, Bird of Prey.
And make sure to
And
subscribe to Bird of Prey 5.
yep,
Yes.
go to Bird of Prey 5, and Bird of Prey 5 is trying
Captain
to.
Kennedy.
Bird of Prey 5 had a suggestion of having to officially start talk like William Shatner Day. Apparently, I guess that he's promoting here for a couple of days. That's an odd thing, but an interesting idea. And oh, let me show these. I'll cover these real quick. And Arabic Sonder, it is for me too, but I got all the Stella Artois?
Artois.
Captain Artois. Captain Kennedy says, "Oh, never for the captain. Never drink on duty at my rank." And Berta Prey says, "Thanks anytime at all, Berta Prey. Our pleasure." Arabic Sonder says, "Thanks to Pop Culture Fun Stream. Thank you, sir. I enjoyed it more than you, if that's even possible. I'm very excited. Um, I have a few ideas knocking around what we will be doing in the future when we're done with the animated series. So I will keep you guys abreast with that.
oh, pop
And
culture. We're gonna do that thing that we were talking about. Or are you still thinking on it?
actually, I am. I was discussing it with Jill in the back room before the stream, and it looks like Jill and I have decided what we're going to do. So it looks like Gorilla, you and I will be taking a trip to that little tropical island. So apparently, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, longest 3-hour tour I ever took.
Well, it may take a little longer than that combined. We're gonna cover. We're gonna if the there in world is wondering what are these two idiots talking about. Gorilla and I are planning on doing. We're gonna do a review, and we're gonna cover Gilligan's Island, similar to what we're doing here with Star Trek. We'll be starting that up soon. I'm gonna order a book or two with some background materials so I can go in depth on that, like we do here. We'll have tidbits, facts, bloopers, behind the scenes information, and I'm excited. So if you're a fan of Gilligan's Island and those 7 castaways, we'll be covering that soon on my stream. And any final words
Woohoo.
from the panelists on this episode before we plug our channels?
No, just thanks again for sort of giving me the proper push to get into some unknown Star Trek. This is always great, and I was really surprised by this episode. I'm really enjoying this series so far.
Yes, I hear that you used to use the animated series as a lullaby, and now I'm
Yeah.
so happy that you're actually watching it.
Yeah. Now, Scotty, I'm gonna push you into Strange New Worlds.
And Scotty, thank you. We appreciate your input. And if it's a lullaby, please at least try to stay awake till the end. And Scotty, would you like to plug your channel? What do you got coming up?
I have to double check, and I think I might be roboting. I'm just getting a lot of static right now, so I don't want to bog down.
Okay, how about
I
you,
can
Jill?
hear
We
you
can get
pretty well.
Scotty after.
Oh yeah,
I
it's
can
good.
hear.
Okay. The plan is well. First things first. Tomorrow I'm going to be over on Jill's channel, and we're going to be talking with you, pop culture curator, and whoever else, and we're going to be talking about the Man Trap, and I'm looking forward to that. And then Wednesday night, if everything goes according to plan, we should be talking about Kill Bill Volume 1. And on Thursday, we'll be covering episodes 2 and 3 of the first season of the original Quantum Leap, which reminds me, the new Quantum Leap is premiering right
Mhm.
now. And then who knows what the future holds.
And for me,
Thank you. Perfect. And yes, Jill. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up with these chat. Go ahead, Jill.
so tomorrow we're going to review the original series, The Man Trap, which is the first Star Trek episode that was broadcast for everybody to see. So that's going to be a fun show
And the first
regarding that.
non-binary character ever in Star Trek.
Correct.
It's true.
It was woke before woke was cool.
No,
No,
diversity in itself is not woke.
No, no, diversity is totally
It is
natural, actually, right?
fantastic. Exactly.
I was making a joke because
Yeah.
everybody says it whenever you got
I know, but
diversity.
it's a misconception.
It's a joke.
Yeah.
It's just a woke joke.
Okay.
Thanks.
And then
And Jill,
and then on Thursday
go
I'll
ahead, Jill.
be reviewing Quantum Leap on Scotty's Phantasmagorium channel. And
Hey,
Friday we may do a thing. We'll see.
that's right.
Oh, I love your Friday stream. It always gives me something to look forward to when I'm at work and I'm listening to it while I'm driving. And
Oh,
Gorilla, what do we
thanks.
have to look forward to on your channel?
Well, Wednesday's Babylon, or not Babylon, Beyond Belief. There we watch Beyond Belief, trying to figure out which ones are fact and which ones are bullshit. Uh, Thursday, I'm defending the Thaw from Voyager.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
I might do a stream Friday there, talk about how the Organians are a bunch of assholes. Because I might not, I don't think I'll be able to do Sunday cinema there because I got a Cub Scouts meeting. They planned it right at the time I do my Sunday cinemas. Then Saturday is Babylon 5 watch party.
Very nice.
Cool.
Perfect. Perfect.
Awesome.
And thank you all once again at the panel. You guys are all wonderful. You
Oh
all have
yeah.
beautiful. Yes, Jill.
I'm sorry to cut you off. I forgot before we
No,
end the stream, I wanted to make sure that after the stream is over, make sure to head over to Clobbern Times if you're a fan of Spider-Man. They're celebrating 60 years of Spider-Man over there on Mark C Comics on Clobbern Times.
so they're celebrating the comic version, right? Not the movies or
Yes.
both.
Uh he's largely a comic book fan, so I'm pretty sure
Okay.
he'll be focused on the comics.
Beautiful.
But
So
he
all you
may
comic book
mention
fans,
who knows.
yeah, and they're very knowledgeable. Everybody out there, the people she's talking about, they know exactly what they're talking about. If you have any questions about comics, that's the source to go to. Yes, son of a red shirt. Thank you for being here as well. Oh, I'm so glad you popped up with that to remind me
Hi,
you were
son of
here.
a red shirt.
Hey, son of Richard.
Yes, yes, so good to see you all. Wonderful chat, you guys. Like I said, we are nothing without the chat, and you guys make up everything for us. And this wonderful, beautiful panel. I feel really blessed to have you guys here with me. And you know, I know I've said it before, but I'll say it again. And I really appreciate you all being here.
My
And everybody
pleasure.
out there, anytime. And for everybody out there, if you like what you see, please like, share, subscribe to the channel, hit the alert button, and make sure you check out Antiderivative Jill's channel tomorrow. We'll be covering TOS, as she said. And if anybody has anything else, now's the time. If not, we will be showing our preview for next week's episode.
Engage.
Engage.
I
I
will
guess
if
we're
you
ready.
yeah,
I
let's
guess we're
get
ready.
take a comment off or no.
Do that now.
Okay,
Yes.
up.
Thank you, Jill.
Thanks. You're welcome.
Log, stardate 5554.8. Plant life of extraordinary intelligence and technology. They have captured Mr. Spock, apparently under the orders of a human named Caniculus.
A human came. He brought sickness and death. Something's happened to his brain. Electrical activity decreasing.
It's too late, Captain Kirk. In a few minutes, your friend will be gone.
Kirk to Enterprise.
It's no use, Jill. He'll be dead in a few minutes. His mind is gone. He no longer thinks. This machine has drained his mind somehow.
You murderer! You've killed Spock!
Behold, gentlemen, the dawning of a new era. Spark 2